All right, I think we begun. All right, here we go. I always feel like I'm not sure what I'm doing on here. All right, so Indonesia. This is the Indonesian flag. For me specifically, I've always wanted to visit Bali, one of the provinces in Indonesia. So I also have a lot of references about Bali in here, and I did that because I wanted to have more of like a location, something that maybe people can look forward to going to. All right, so as you can tell, here are all 34 provinces of Indonesia. And so we here, for me, I'm talking specifically about Bali, but as you can tell, you can see many of the provinces that make up Indonesia. All right, so the absolute location of Indonesia is 0.7893 degrees south and 113.9213 degrees east. As you see, I have the absolute location of Bali on here, and the relative location of Bali really is what makes what make the surrounding countries that make Bali or surround Bali. Bali is north of Australia, so if you think of um, Australia, it's about northwest, just a little like just kind of catty corner right there. I mean, it looks very tangible for Australians to reach. South of Malaysia, east of Singapore, and additionally, Bali is surrounded, as you could tell from this photo, Bali is completely surrounded by water, the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Here's a photo of Bali. I just think it's beautiful. Outside of its beauty, it is a real country with real people, everyday people. But this is a place that I would love to go on vacation. I think it looks gorgeous. All right, regionally. All right, so the region, Indonesia has a lot of functional regions, and most of them are inhabited. Um, Islands that are being used for energy, and the most formal regions are Bali and Jakarta. Jakarta is a very, very, very urbanized area of Indonesia. As far as Bali, it is divided from east to west by a volcanic mountain and north to south by rivers. I think I have a photo I'll be able to show so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. So there are six formal regions of Bali. You have north, south, central, east, west, and the southeastern islands. I wanted to talk about them briefly just to kind of give you guys an idea of each of the regions and what they have. And either way, I think it's beautiful. Whatever you think is beautiful, all right, so South Bali is like mainly where the tourists flock. People like me that I want to go visit Bali. That's typically where people go and have their villas and just kind of enjoy the beaches over there. You have Central Bali, which has the mountain range. It's the center of the mountain range, and I think that would be really neat to at least go and see. You have West Bali, which has the national park. The national park I think is interesting because it's protected. It also has like you can hike, you can go diving over there. You can swim. You can just really enjoy the country for what it is, or the province for what it is. You have North Bali, which has the black sand beaches. I don't know if anybody's ever seen those, but those look neat. But also has the old capital city, so where many of the Balinesians originally were. That's where the city was. All right, then we have East Bali, which is the sorry, I have a baby and she's crying. Sorry about that. All right, so East Bali, which has the coastal villages, which I think would be really neat. Just right off the coast, right there, the villages. They have an active volcano, which could be fairly nerve wracking, but it's still, it's just neat. I'm from a landlocked state, so, and then you have the southeastern islands, which are very popular for like the diving activities, snorkeling activities, all of those. If that's where people go to visit, as far as Bali, they most likely will stay in the north area, south area, or southeastern. All right. And this photo, so this is the ASEAN, which stands for the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. As you can see, the other countries, Southeastern Asian countries, there you go, are all on here. I like this photo because it really demonstrates, we're talking about Indonesia and the following areas of the mountains. And so I think that this looks really nice. Kind of gives you an idea of Indonesia and what kind of physical, I think, yeah, the physical geographic layout they have. But as far as the ASEAN, it's mainly it's like almost like an agreement. Many of the Southeastern Asian countries joined to really just help diffuse any issues and keep them united. And I think that's good. And a lot of people, I'll talk about it later, but a lot of people from different countries will migrate and do some work in different other countries in the Southeastern Asian area. All right, and then here's a an additional photo that I really like too. As you can see, here is Indonesia, and here are the mountains and the volcanic mountain range. All right, movement. What ideas are exchanged through technology? So the technology in Bali is used for communication, which includes the communication satellites and community-based internet infrastructures. Ideas are exchanged through technology by discovering ways to improve culturally, regionally, and physically. I think that goes for saying that across all nations that technology allows for borrowed ideas, air quotes there. But the issue with Indonesia is that there's not much access to internet. However, if they really allow digital advances in their countries, their gross domestic product would skyrocket to billions. And I thought that that was something really neat to see. But culturally, it allows the exchange of different foods. You're talking cultures as far as, yeah, so foods, language, attire. You're talking physically down to okay, so one country might have an idea. One country has an idea of how things work in their country, and it's like another country could say, "Oh, well, maybe this is something that would work for us." In many countries, we all do it, right? I think it's called cultural appropriation, and so it's just technology is a huge advancement, not necessarily disadvantage, but there's a lot of advancing with it. What is immigration like? So in Bali and in Indonesia, many people are moving from the rural area. We talk about like coastal villages and small farming, and they're moving from that to more of an urbanized area like Jakarta, which has the airport there. They have, I think it's the capital is Dinspar in Jakarta, and that's where that's where anybody like me, if I wanted to go visit, I would fly into. And so they have a lot of opportunities for people to have a better life by working and job opportunities. Migration. I like this like statement. Migration is motivated by the desire to improve standards of living, and migrants move to places with better economic opportunities. I think that goes to say with every nation, but that's something that really stands in Indonesia. That many people actually migrate out of Indonesia, mainly into China and surrounding countries to be able to. In Australia, Australia is a big one, to be able to have a better opportunity to from for employment and better standards of living for their families, education, through what means are goods transported? So I want to talk about some of the exports of Indonesia, such as palm oil, minerals, cars, oil, and gas. Additionally, tree crops such as coconut products, rubber, coffee, and teas are some of the largest exports of Indonesia. Many ways that these goods are transported are 75% of the goods are road transport, and then the rest are like water ferry to get to the other provinces and local countries. The main methods of travel include boat, trains, cars, and by foot. With the location, because of the location, many people actually leave the country because of the national disasters. And as you could tell, it was completely surrounded by water. Uh, and I say this is because the chain of islands is surrounded by water. They have a rainy tropical climate, and they lie on a fault line. And so what happens is a lot of their irrigation is completely flooded. So their farming, they've really had to get away from farming and find new ways, which tourism is a big one. I found this photo online. I liked it. These arrows indicate the incoming arrows indicate imports out. Um, Outward facing arrows is exports. So you can see many of the countries that all the way to the U.S. You have all the small southeastern Eastern Asian countries that they do a lot of importing and exporting to. All right, in place. Bali is a small island that is bordered by the ocean. We talked about the Indian and Pacific Ocean. It has a beautiful volcanic mountains, rainforests, and rice paddies, make it a wonderful vacation spot. Balinese people are mainly Hindu. Additionally to Hindu, I did not realize that they have a strong or a large community of a nation of Islam believers. And I thought that that was really interesting because I guess I don't know why I didn't think about that. I definitely thought more of a Hindu religion was there, but they have a strong Islamic following there. Bali's culture is a mixture of Indian, Dutch, Japanese, and Chinese cultures. Mind you, the Dutch colonized Indonesia, and then I think in the 70s is when they gained their independence. I'm pretty sure that in the 70s they gained their independence. I thought that this was a neat photo. Here's, some of the temples. I just think it looks gorgeous. I mean, there's just so much history right there. Look at those steps. I mean, it's just gorgeous there. All right, so human environment interaction, the HEI. The Indonesians use some of the land for farming, a small scale. Again, we talk about the flooding, and they adapt to the environment knowing when to put certain crops out. Much of Indonesians have changed the land for worse by logging and mining. So there's a lot of deforestation out there. Most of the Indonesians live in Jakarta, mostly because of the capital of the country. And this is where most trade and opportunities take place. So we talk about migration, talk about educational opportunities, better standard of living opportunities through employment. Fishing is a very popular activity in Bali. The water surrounding it is important to the Balinese people, so they definitely use their resources. Since Bali is located on an island, natural disasters such as hurricanes and earthquakes have been devastating. In the 90s, oil was at an abundant natural resource. Eventually, the oil industry declined. However, as today, as many people can tell, the oil consumption rate has increased, and they're trying to move away from that. But the prices are ridiculous. So yeah, there's a high demand for it right now. And here are my references. All right, so I think I'm done here. I got to figure out how to get out of here. All right, thank you.